Good morning and welcome back to the African Utility Week studio. I'm Claire Falkvane, and with me this morning I have Lawrence Musaba, who is the Coordination Centre Manager for the Southern African Power Pool. Now, Lawrence, that effectively makes you the CEO of the organization, right?
Yeah, that's correct, yes.
Okay, good. So when we were talking earlier, you mentioned to me that SAPP has moved on to a new trading platform, the SAPP market trading platform. And I was wondering, could you tell us a little bit about the platform, first of all, and also what the new platform is going to offer in terms of the trading capacity that SAPP has?
Okay, we used to have a trading platform that was developed by Nodpool with specifications from the SAPP in 2003. Unfortunately, some 5 years later, Nodpool was sold and bought by NASDAQ of the US. When Nodpool was bought by NASDAQ, there were a number of changes that took place. NASDAQ basically increased the charges for operations, maintenance and operations, which made it very difficult for the SAPP to use that trading platform. We didn't own it, they owned it. So it was difficult for us to negotiate better rates for ourselves. We wanted a trading platform where we can use it as SAPP into ours trading platform belonging to us, which we can modify for other power pools in Africa and allow them to use it as well. So what we did was we got into an alliance with the Eneweb of South Africa as the new developers of our trading platform. We agreed to the terms for the development of the new trading platform. We developed it and we called it the SAPP Market Trading Platform. The difference with this trading platform is that it's ours, specified by us, developed by us, and we own it, meaning that it's sustainable. We can modify it in future, and also we've added other markets which were not in the previous trading platform. For example, on the new trading platform, we are using it for day-ahead market. It can be used also, we are putting up another intra-day-ahead market on the existing day-ahead market, a weekly market, monthly market, and a physical market. And in the future, it will also be used for a financial market as well. So that's the difference. It's affordable in terms of maintenance. We're able to generate enough funds using this market, this trading platform, and we can extend it in future, modify it ourselves. So that's the big difference between the two trading platforms.
And have you started with the intraday ahead weekly and monthly markets, or is this going to be implemented still?
It will be implemented in stages. Right now we've just implemented the day ahead market, which is the market that we are using on the new trading platform. We are also planning to introduce the intra-day ahead market, which should be done in the next few weeks, few months. That market should be operational. A weekly market is already designed to take weekly market, monthly market, and the physical market. But the financial market, that is something that will develop slowly and in the future. But right now the other markets are being prepared, and a number of them are running already.
And so the financial market, will that operate almost like a stock exchange?
Exactly. The same concept that is used on stock exchange is the same concept that will be used on this market.
But this obviously being one that operates across the SAPP members?
Yes, SAPP members and also the participants who are going to be admitted to participate on the market. The market is not just for members of SAPP. Right now in the SAPP, we've got independent power companies. They are members of SAPP. Before 2008, particularly, we used to restrict the market and the membership of the SAPP. It used to be only national power utilities in the region of SADC. But after the documentation was agreed to basically revise those documents and allow other members of the SAPP to be able to join the SAPP, for example, independent transmission companies, independent power producers, those were allowed to join the SAPP as members of SAPP. as long as they're interconnected to the SAPP. So on the SAPP now, we've got 16 members from 12. There are 4 other members of SAPP that are not national power utilities. These are just private companies. Okay. In Zambia, we've got CEC, Copperbelt Energy Corporation. They are a member of SAPP. We've also got Lunsemfu Hydropower Company. They are a member of SAPP. There is another company that has applied to be a member of SAPP, Ndola Energy. If they qualify, we authenticate that they are connected to the SAPP and they have qualified, they will be admitted as a member of the SAPP. So it is open to any utility within the SADC region. They can join SAPP and become members of SAPP and trade on the day-ahead market.
Okay. So speaking of SADC and the whole basis of a power pool, I believe that there's been some interesting discussions and developments with regards to interconnections between SAPP as a power pool and some of the other power pools. Do you want to maybe talk through some of that?
Okay. Where the SAPP is, we've got countries like Angola, DRC, and Tanzania. They are on the periphery of the SAPP in the north. Now, the DRC, for example, is a member of SAPP, is a member of the East African Power Pool, and is also a member of the Central African Power Pool.
Well, I guess they're well positioned for all of that,
well positioned, yes, they're in the middle of Africa. If you look at Angola, Angola is a member of SAPP and is also a member of the Central African Power Pool. Now, if you look at the SAPP, we are on the southern part of Africa. On the eastern side, there is Tanzania. Tanzania is a member of SAPP and also is a member of East African Power Pool. Now, there is going to be an interconnector which has been studied for many years now between Zambia and Tanzania. Once that interconnector is constructed, it will mean that SAPP will be interconnected to the East African Power Pool automatically. Once those two power pools are interconnected, we will be operating as an interconnected grid, SAPP and EAPP. Now, in advance of that, we've signed an MOU between the SAPP Coordination Center and the East African Power Pool Center as well. The idea is to study the two networks together and see what will happen once the two power pools are interconnected. Power will move from East Africa to Southern Africa in some seasons. Other seasons, power will flow from Southern Africa to East Africa. So in preparation of this, we have to prepare our common standards of operating and harmonize those standards so that we are speaking the same language as engineers in East Africa and in Southern Africa. So that MOU is very important for us. This MOU is going to put the SAPP and the East Africa and study the network together so that once we are interconnected, we've got similar standards, similar rules, and similar guidelines between the two power pools.
So that would mean that not only are you harmonizing the standards, but also your operational techniques.
Operational techniques, yes.
Okay.
Because if there is a fault, for example, in East Africa, and this fault is a major fault, definitely it is going to affect Southern Africa.
Yeah.
So in the way we are going to tackle the handling of that fault, we should be on the same page. We should have same operating guidelines, at least similar to theirs, and ours should be similar. So that if there is a system fault, our controllers in Southern Africa, for example in Lusaka, Zambia, they must be able to speak to their counterparts in Tanzania, Dar es Salaam, and come up with a way of sorting out that system fault. The standards must be harmonized as much as possible so that there is no confusion once the two power pools are interconnected.
Because I imagine that if there is a significant problem somewhere up the line, it could actually have a ripple effect down the system.
That's
and
exactly
could cause a real challenge for multiple utilities. So that obviously means that there's going to be quite an increase of volume in terms of trading and stuff like that on your market trading platform. Is that correct?
We are hoping that is going to happen. There are certain benefits that we are going to derive by interconnecting the two power pools. If you look at our generation mix in Southern Africa, most of it is coal. Actually, 74% of our current generation is from coal, 20% is from hydro. If you go to East Africa, with the coming in of Ethiopia, for example, Ethiopia is constructing a 3,000 megawatt power station that will supply Ethiopia. Part of that energy is going to be exported to Kenya, and part of it definitely will come to Tanzania. Now, during the times that there is good rainfall in the East African area, the SAPP obviously is going to benefit from the hydro energy that is going to come from East Africa, which can be exported to Southern Africa. If there's a drought in East Africa, they can also benefit from Southern African energy, most of which is coal from South Africa, which can be exported to East Africa. So there will be synergies between the two power pools. What we have at certain times, they may not have. What they have at other times, we may not have. They've got geothermal in Kenya. We don't have a lot of geothermal station in Southern Africa. So there will be interchange of energy according to the advantages of each power pool. They are more advantageous in hydro because of Ethiopia. We are more advantageous in coal generation because of South Africa. So there will be interchange of energy at certain times. There's certain benefits that they are going to accrue to them and also to us.
I guess the benefit as well is that we're hopefully really ensuring that we have a secure supply across an entire region where, as you say, everybody benefits. Which
everybody is
ultimately
going to benefit.
Yeah.
The supply must be secure to them and to us. So it's a sharing of resources between them and us. For example, once the Kafue Gorge Lower in Zambia is developed, that is the hydro. There may be certain times whereby we may not need all of it at the same time, particularly say in the evening, that can be exported. Maybe during peak time in Southern Africa, we may want more energy from the East African power pool. We can import also from them. So it's a sharing of resources to the best advantage of the two power pools.
So another really exciting development. I mean, you've had quite a year so far.
Last year, yes.
You've got this wonderful new trading platform that's being rolled out, and I believe that there's been some discussions around a project coordination center or a project advisory center. Would you like to give some information about that? I think this is a particularly exciting development from a power pool perspective.
For the power pools, yes. See, for a number of years, we have not implemented projects in the region. We had sufficient capacity in the early 90s. In fact, in South Africa, some of the generation plants were being decommissioned. We had so much capacity at one time. Our reserve margins were beyond 15%. And we thought, that was it. We were not able to build new power stations. There was enough capacity. But as time started moving forward, from 1995, industry in Southern Africa started to pick up. Conflicts started to reduce after 1994 when South Africa became a multi-racial state. Democracy came in. Challenges that were experienced before were removed. The economy of South Africa started to develop. In Angola, also tension started to reduce. In Namibia was independent. Mozambique as well started moving forward.
So the economy were an exciting time.
So the economy started to move forward. And every economy depends on the supply of power. Power is like the engine of an economy. Without power, you can't move forward. So the demand started to increase. And all of a sudden, after about 2000, we found ourselves with not sufficient capacity. And we predicted in 2001 to say by 2007, 8, around that time, there will be shortage of capacity in the region. We relayed this information to our superiors, the ministers, and at that time nobody thought that we are going to come to a point where we actually start load shedding some years later. We requested the task team or the ministerial task team to say, this is what we expect is going to happen 7 years from now. And in 2008, the ministers eventually agreed with us because, load shedding started.
We had some serious load shedding at that time
from
in
2007.
South Africa.
Yeah. The task team was formed, of the ministerial task team. In this task team, there is the government of Zimbabwe, government of South Africa, government of Botswana, and Mozambique. The energy ministers are part of that task team, and the DRC. So they released a statement on the 21st of February 2008 to just flag out the issue to say we are going to see a lot of load shedding in the future unless we do something now. So the ministers were aware from 2007 itself to say that there is going to be load shedding. But the matter was not very taken seriously at that time by most governments, because there were some power pockets from different countries were able to supply, like Mozambique. But as time goes by, the matter was becoming an issue, and it was becoming a big challenge for the region. We approached our cooperating partners for support to package the projects so that we can implement them as quickly as possible. That is where the idea of the project advisory unit came about. Now, when the World Bank got the news from us that we were looking for funds, they came to our aid, and some of our cooperating partners, the government of Norway, who has been helping us for many years, and SIDA as well, also responded to say no, they will continue to help the SAPP to implement projects, package the projects and implement those projects. But the coordination center was not developed to do that kind of work. So we agreed to say the best way forward as a region is to have a project advisory unit that can concentrate just on receiving funds and entice the region to package those projects, sell those projects or put them on the market for investors to come in and invest in those projects, implement the projects so that we can have excess capacity, return back to a situation where we have capacity to supply energy in the region. So that's the mandate of the project advisory unit. The unit itself is going to be based in Joburg, South Africa, because of the center of Joburg in terms of business and trade. It will be based in South Africa, but the main issue for that unit is to concentrate on project packaging, receiving funds to prepare the projects so that they can be implemented and increase the generation capacity of the region. That's the main idea.
And then you mentioned to me as well that in addition to that, the part of the project advisory unit will be looking at identifying skills development needs. So will it be a unit where people can come for advice on how to package projects, or will it be responsible for packaging and developing projects as a unit through effectively an SAPP project that will be implemented and
It's
developed?
an SAPP unit that is also going to assist the utilities to get skills in project preparation. Most of the utilities, our main focus is not on project preparation, but the unit is going to assist to build that capacity, to build skills.
Yeah.
If you remember, in the early 80s, particularly in South Africa, there were skills to develop and implement projects. Right now, if you go across South Africa and Southern Africa, those skills are rare. We don't have a lot of those skills anymore because we implemented projects over 30 years ago in most countries. It's only now, after realizing that we are going to do massive load shedding, there will be shortage of capacity. That's when implementation of projects at a serious note has started. But you need skills. At the end of the day, you need to have skills to implement projects. Those skills are not found across Africa in many countries. Even in Europe, the skills, the last time they prepared projects, even in Europe, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
Those skills, most of them are now found in China because the Chinese have been developing and implementing projects. If you look at EPC contractors, most of the EPC contractors worldwide now are Chinese because they're a developing nation. They've been implementing projects, they have those skills. In South Africa, the last time a project was implemented here in South Africa was over 30 years ago. And those skills are very rare. So we need skills. And the skills is not an event that I can give you my skills today. It's a process. It takes time for skills to move from one generation to the other. You can't just simply say today, I'm going to transfer my skills to you just like that. No.
Well, it would be nice if you would. I wouldn't mind being coordination center manager for a day or two.
It's a process that takes some time. You have one generation transferring skills to the other generation, 4 or 5 years as a process, and eventually the other generation get the experience, the exposure, and start matching up the previous generation. That's basically what happens. So this unit in South Africa, we're going to employ people that have skills. The chief transaction advisor, who is going to be like the manager for the project in South Africa, should be somebody that is skilled, on-hand training, he's got that, and he's done some project preparation, project implementation before, and will be able to assist the region to bring certain skills that we can use to prepare the projects. So that is basically what we are planning to do. So their main job is just on projects. Our job as coordination center is not just on projects, we've got other activities as well. But this unit will just concentrate on project preparation to move them from feasibility studies to bankability, where they are ready to be implemented. That's the difference between the CC Coordination Center and this unit.
Okay, that's wonderful. Lawrence, unfortunately, we've run out of time. I could sit and talk to you all day, but thank you so much for joining us this morning. I really appreciate the time. And from African Utility Week, I'm Claire Falkveen. Thanks for joining us.